Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another edition of the Economy and Politics Show as we continue the conversation on the socio-political space in Nigeria. Today's edition for Friday, November 27, 2020, will focus on the recently concluded Nigeria Economic Summit 26th edition. Excerpts from this summit will look at how the Nigerian policy can be repositioned to drive competitiveness and productivity. The 26th Nigeria Economic Summit, powered by the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, the largest public-private forum on the nation's political economy, took a hybrid format of both physical and virtual sessions. Discussing the theme, Building Partnerships for Resilience, the just concluded summit was apt, discussing how Nigeria can navigate the trilemma of a COVID-19 pandemic impact, the violence that mated the peaceful EndSARS protest, and the third quarter 2020 recession. The summit had 23 impactful sessions, engaging and purpose-driven conversations. It featured policymakers, business leaders, youth leaders, heads of international institutions, analysts, scholars, and leaders of thought. Here are some of the memorable quotes from what was a two-day power-packed summit that featured enlightening sessions. In the policy and legislation space, the first quote that comes is, "The day we successfully deregulate the oil sector, many of our politicians will have no business running for public offices anymore." That was from Dr. Obiageli Ezegwezili, Senior Economic Advisor, the Africa Economic Development Policy Initiative. The second quote under this category says, "It is important to develop and implement policies and business models that support the production and consumption of made in Nigeria goods and services." That was from the Governor of Abia State, His Excellency Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu. The third quote under this category says, "With less and limited available resources, the government should develop industrial policies that aim for quick wins for generating jobs, exports, and revenues." That's from Professor Justin Yifulin, international notable scholar. The next quote still under this category is, "Two institutions are needed to achieve competitiveness. Firstly, an enabling framework to guide entrepreneurs for technological innovation and industrial upgrading." That's from Professor Justin Yifulin, Dean, Institute for New Structural Economics, China. The next quote still on the category of policy and legislation is, "Three things that are involved in economic management are sound economic policies, strong institutions, and sensible priorities of public investment that become a magnet for private investment." That was from Dr. Obiageli Ezegwezili. The next, still under this category, is, "Technology adoption has continued to grow in our economy, but we are more of consumers than producers. All we need is a national agenda for the deployment of digital infrastructures to all sectors of the economy." That was from Funke Okpeke, CEO of Main One. And still under policy and legislation, "The private sector needs to play a key role in implementing our national priorities and economic agenda, and the private sector must contribute towards the articulation of economic strategies that will support trade and investments." Noble quote from Vice President Professor Yemi Osibanjo, who was the keynote speaker at the conference. And also still under policy and legislation, "The bane of our problem is political will, caused by bureaucratic bottlenecks that plagues both the public and private sector." That was from Dr. Valerie Zinge, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The youth were also part of this conference, and there was just one of few quotes speaking about the youth and what they could do. Prominent amongst those quotes from this conference was, "I believe that this generation, the Diamond Generation, has the capacity to be the light that we'll need to help us find a new road." That was from the Right Honorable Patricia Scotland, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. Indeed, the youth have a lot to offer. In terms of data, which has continued to be one of the things that needs to be brought to the fore in economic development, a key quote here said, "Without data, everything is opaque. The minute we start a data-driven economy is the moment we can hold office holders accountable. That's from Hassan Abel Aliyu, a Bridge Fellow of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. The next is that the user, producer, and supplier are key in data processing. This is why supplier is constantly sensitized on the need to provide accurate info, as this could lead to the circulation of wrong data and thereby resulting in the making of wrong decisions. That's from Dr. Yemi Kale, the Director General of the National Bureau of Statistics. In terms of sustainable development, which is the future now and the way everything in sectors are going to, a major quote from that session was, to make sure our efforts on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals do not go into silos, we must create a platform to monitor, track, and scale the efforts and interventions made by stakeholders on achieving the goals. That was a quote from one of the key champions of SDGs in Nigeria, Mr. Khalid El Dokani, the country CEO of Lafarge Africa. Politics, they say, has a very strong influence on the economy and social life, and political structures and politics was not left out in the discourse. The first quote under this segment that was catchy from the summit was, there is need to address the current political structure that benefits only the politicians and not the populace. That again was from Dr. Biagile Zekwezili. The next quote was, one of the most important reforms to be made to the Constitution is the creation of state police. That was from His Excellency Malam Nasser Rufai, Governor of Kaduna State. The next is, using the instrument of law, we need to re-engineer our society to make governance work in Nigeria. That was from Dr. Valerie Zinge, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The cost of governance is gradually going down, but we need to emphasize the ability of government to support the private sector. That received various widespread reactions, and that was from Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State. The 26th Annual Summit of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Budget, Finance and National Planning, concluded, and it is very clear that one major quote to ramp up that summit is a take-home that everybody in the country must look at and reflect on. The quote is, let this 26th summit be the one where we collectively resolve to shun off greed, nepotism, and corruption. It is time that we are brave with facing our realities with strength, purpose, and integrity. Laudable quote from Mr. Aswe Godalo, Chairman of the Board of Nigeria Economic Summit Group. And definitely, if that is the case at the end of the summit, I believe Nigeria will go a long way, because we must begin to look at our national issues beyond the lens of nepotism, tribalism, and every religious sentiment. That'll be all for today's edition of the Economic and Politics Show. You can visit our website, www.prochange.com, to watch our videos, read our news stories, and reports. Send your views and comments to news@prochange.com what you think about Nigeria's political economy and how we can make it work better. To come your way again, it's been a very interesting week. Let's make this happen sometime next week. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day and stay safe.